This is K9WLW with a follow-up video on the Kenwood D74. And now that you've programmed the DR memory channel for your Kenwood 74, which is my last video, I'm going to show you what you can do with it. I'm going to demonstrate how you can use your Kenwood D74 to link to remote D-Star repeaters and also link to YSF reflectors, FCS reflectors in the Fusion world, Brandmeister, talk groups in Brandmeister, and also the NXDN reflectors via cross mode. All can be done now from your radio. You don't even really have to use the dashboard of your Openspot. Again, this is strictly an Openspot 3 video. You cannot cross mode with the Openspot 2 or 1, and none of this applies to the Pi-Star. Sorry, Pi-Star. I had to show off what Openspot 3 can do here. Okay. My last video, I programmed a Openspot 3 DR memory channel, and that's really the setup for what we can do. So very quickly, I am going to go, oops, hang on, I guess I jammed myself up. Very quickly, I am going to show you the RPT1, RPT2, and so forth. Now you can see the UR, I just did an unlink command, so there's the U. But remember, in the last video, I decided to use RPT1 direct, RPT2 direct, and then of course the my call is your own call sign. So all of this is done now with R1 direct and R2 direct in the DR memory. And if you want to know where you can see your 4 settings, you go into the function, digital mode, digital function menu, go to the TXCS right here, hit enter, and that's your 4 settings. And that's something you want to get familiar with in case you have any problems on the network. You can check to make sure your settings are correct. Your my call, R1 and R2 are now direct with Openspot platform, and UR can be CQ, 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 or any other number of commands. Okay, now the magic of the DR mode on the Kenwood is simply accessed by this rocker key right here where my thumb is. Pressing and holding the up arrow brings you to the menus related to what you load in the upper field, which is commonly shown as the 2 field on the ICOM radios. You've got local CQ, which I don't recommend using ever on a hotspot. Gateway CQ, individual, and reflector are your main 3 now with today's video. And I can probably touch on this direct input ear call, just so you know what you can do there. Okay, the first area I'm going to focus is the gateway CQ. Now again, this is Openspot and how they use gateway CQ, or allow you to use gateway CQ. It allows you, if you go into Gateway CQ, it allows you to go through your repeater directory and find a repeater. Now, in the Gateway CQ, when you find a repeater, oh, let me find one in Columbus, Ohio. There we go. Okay, here's Columbus, Ohio. You can highlight the repeater and hit the enter key, and it loads the repeater up here. Okay? Now, for those of you that say, wait a minute, the Gateway CQ does things a little differently. it does a / repeater call sign followed by module, which is an old school call sign routing command. Well, the Openspot chose, or I should say Shark RF, chose not to use call sign routing as a feature. So you cannot call sign route on an Openspot platform. What Openspot or Shark RF has decided to use this for is a link command to a repeater, which I kind of think is genius. If you're a big fan of call sign routing, which isn't used that much more, you're probably not going to like that. But for those of us that like linking, which is a more modern day way of connecting, it's actually a pretty good plus in my opinion. And I think you'll see here in a moment why. Now, I'm not linked to anything, and I'm going to have the Columbus, Ohio B module, W8CMH, loaded in that top field, and I'm going to do a quick push-to-talk. And release.
Openspot connected to W8CMH Bravo.
Okay, you can hear and see that I'm connected to W8CMH Bravo, which means I've directly connected my hotspot to that Columbus, Ohio D-Star repeater. If I wish to QSO on that repeater, or just monitor it, I should go to Use Reflector. And anytime I transmit now through my hotspot, I will be coming out that W8CMH repeater. And anyone else that's connected to that repeater, either over the internet or using it locally, will hear my traffic. And if they key up with Use Reflector on their end, I will hear their traffic. So you can actually link to individual repeaters with the Openspot platform through the Gateway CQ menu. And remember, the Gateway CQ menu gives you full access in the Kenwood radio to all the D-Star repeaters that were preloaded into your radio, or you may have downloaded them yourself. So it's kind of a cool way to link out to a repeater. Anyway, I thought I would show that. I have other videos that get more into that. Okay, now I'm going to move down the list here to individual. I have another video where I discuss how to add commands to the individual command. I believe they called this individual because in the olden days of D-Star, you used to load a person's call sign in there, and it would call sign route your transmission from your local D-Star repeater out to the repeater, the person whose call sign that you were trying to reach was last keyed up on. Sort of like a follow me roaming. Again, that was old D-Star call sign routing to the individual. Well, I've decided, and I believe many people besides me have decided that you can also store special commands to do various links. You can store your favorite reflectors, maybe some link commands to some repeaters you'd like to QSO on. But I also stored the link commands for cross-moding from the D-Star radio to the other networks. I have a link command of BM3102 that links you from this radio through the hotspot to the Brandmeister 3102 server. I stored a 4000 command to unlink from a Brandmeister talk group. I stored 91 so that I could connect and QSO on Brandmeister's Worldwide Talk Group 91. I added a second talk group, 3100, on Brandmeister. I added a YSF reflector link command. And the command for linking to YSF is YS followed by the 5-digit YSF reflector number. If you look at your YSF connectors on the Openspot connectors page, they all have a 5-digit number assigned to them. The link command to any of your favorite YSF reflectors, if you've come across any, is simply YS followed by the 5-digit number. Also in the Fusion world, there are FCS reflectors. That's a different connector on the Openspot. And the command for linking to those reflectors is FCS00 followed by the three-digit reflector number on the FCS reflector list, which you can also see on your connectors page. And finally, I've added the command NX1200. The NX command will link you to the NXDN reflectors, followed by the reflector number of the NXDN reflector. I chose NXDN reflector 1200 as an example. And that will completely connect your hotspot to the NXDN reflector. So I'll give a quick demonstration on how it works. Okay, let me see. I don't even remember where we're connected now. When in doubt, I can just do reflector info, and it'll tell me where I was last connected.
Openspot connected to W8CMH Bravo.
Okay, well, I'm still in D-Star, obviously, and I'm connected to that Columbus repeater. Now, if I go into individual and I want to go to Brandmeister, you first have to connect to the Brandmeister server. My preferred server in the US is 3102, so the command BM3102. I load that in, hit the push to talk, release.
Openspot connected to Brandmeister 3102.
There you go. I left D-Star's world and connected to Brandmeister 3102 server. Now, with DMR, you have to go one step further. Even though I'm connected to the server, I am not connected to a talk group. You have to go one more step to connect to a talk group. I'm going to have to unlock my tablet here to demonstrate something for you. Okay, I loaded in talk group 91, and the command to link to it or connect to it is 91. The talk group number. So I do a quick push to talk and release. And already I'm connected. Now, with the Openspot, or I should say with Brandmeister, when you connect to a talk group, you don't get a link announcement like you do with the other modes. As soon as you connect to a talk group, there's no announcement from the hotspot that you're connected. Well, you can tell I connected to a talk group because you immediately heard traffic, but let's say you connected to a talk group where there was no traffic. Go to the connectors page, or the status page, I'm sorry, on your hotspot, and you can see if you're connected and what you're connected to. And it says I'm linked to Dynamic Talk Group 91 worldwide. So you can, now to QSO, you have to change to reflector, use reflector, and there you are. You can QSO on Talk Group 91 all day long if you like. Now, when you're done with the talk group, you have to wait for a break in the action. You have to have an unlink command from a talk group. That command is talk group 4000. You have to wait for the traffic to stop before you can do the key up. Here we go. I just got my chance. And listened for the response. It says not linked. That was the Brandmeister server telling us that. And it says disco net. I guess we ran out of letter space on how it communicates. But now I'm still connected to the server of Brandmeister, but not connected to any talk group. Individual is where, again, I store all these special commands. We can connect to Brandmeister 3100, which is another talk group, USA Nationwide, I believe it's called. So quick push to talk, release. and maybe there'll be traffic, maybe there will not. If I want a QSO reflector, use reflector. Now here we don't hear any traffic, so we're like, are we connected? Yes or no? Back on the status page, says that I am connected to 3100 Brandmeister US nationwide bridge. So we are connected. We're just not hearing any traffic for the time being, which is okay. That is evidence that we are connected. So if any traffic were to appear, you would hear it like normal. Okay, whether or not you hear traffic, it's always best to make sure that you unlink from a talk group. If you forget to unlink from a talk group and move on to other worlds, or shut the hotspot off and come back a week later, it's still going to be connected to that talk group, and you might be surprised when you power up your hotspot. So it's always a good idea to go to 4000, quick push to talk,
Not linked.
I'm not linked. So now I'm out of the talk group. I'm still on the server. Okay, now let's move on. After DMR Brandmeister, I programmed a code to connect to YSF Reflector 21080. That's America's link. There's the command, YS 21080. Quick push to talk.
Openspot connected to YSF Reflector 21080.
I am connected. There's traffic. Remember, to QSO, you have to go to Reflector, use Reflector. Otherwise, you'll keep linking with each key down, and no one will hear you. That's the QSO mode, just like on D-Star. Okay. Let's say you want to go to an FCS reflector. Individual. I stored an FCS command here, FCS 00290 for FCS reflector 290. Quick push to talk.
Openspot connected to FCS 290.
There's your confirmation that you're connected to FCS 290. If you wish to QSO, reflector, use reflector. You're ready for QSO. Okay, moving on to the final mode that you can cross mode to, the NXDN reflector network. Again, I started an individual. I scroll down to my NXDN command, to NXDN reflector 1200. The command is NX followed by the reflector number. Load that into the, I guess I keep calling it the 2 field because of the ICOM radio, but that's where I'm loading it. Quick push to talk, release.
Openspot connected NXDN reflector 1200.
Okay. You're connected, QSO, reflector, use reflector. You're ready for QSO on an NXDN reflector. Back to D-Star, link to reflector. Oh, you can go anywhere you want. I'll just go to 66 Delta for now. There's probably no traffic there, which is fine.
Openspot connected to REF066 Delta.
Okay, and I'm going to wrap this video up with something that I think is probably important to mention, especially on the D-Star network, and especially if you're connected to 1 Charlie or 30 Charlie. There's been a lot of controversy about people getting banned or blocked from Reflector 1 Charlie and 30 Charlie, and leaving an unattended hotspot connected to those reflectors has been causing problems. So here's a recommendation to make sure that you don't have an unattended hotspot connected to those reflectors, or any reflector for that matter. When you're done with the Openspot for the day, just go on D-Star. All you have to do is go to Unlink Reflector. Quick push to talk.
Openspot special connector active.
your hotspot goes into standby mode and will remain there indefinitely, days on end if you don't come back to it. It's still connected to the internet, so you'll automatically get your firmware updates if you leave it connected to the internet. But you won't have any radio traffic. You won't have any unexpected connections to a reflector that might cause issues where you might get blocked from that reflector's access. So just a food for thought if you ever are done with the hotspot, and I'm sure you want to go to sleep or go to your job or do something else, just do an unlink when you're in the D-Star world. And just so you know where it puts your hotspot, the connectors page says you're connected to null. And because it leaves you in the D-Star mode, when you come back to your hotspot, it's waiting for you to key up a link command. So you can come from the null connector, load a link command, press to talk.
Openspot connected to REF066 Delta.
And then you're right in. You didn't even have to use the dashboard to do that. Again, when you're done for the day, reflector, unlink reflector, push to talk.
Openspot special connector active.
Null connector active. It'll remain that connected as long as you leave it, and you can leave it connected to Wi-Fi 24/7 so you get your firmware updates automatically while you sleep. I think we just had a firmware update at 4 a.m. this morning, as a matter of fact. Anyway, that's it for this video. I have another video that explains how to store those commands in the individual. I will provide a link to that video in case you have not seen it so that you can learn how to store your commands. But you have up to 200 commands that you can store in that individual area to do all kinds of things with. You can link to your favorite D-Star reflectors, your favorite D-Star repeaters, your cross modes, up to 200 that it'll hold in the radio at your fingertips. And you notice I did not have to use the dashboard to go anywhere or do anything. I was able to go into 4 digital worlds, all from the radio, because of the DR memory from my last video. That's the power of how the radio becomes the commander of where you go. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, or feel free to email me at cq2meters@yahoo.com. 73s from K9WLW.